our schools being returned back to local control since 1995. The former President McGee, under the leadership of the education chairperson, Patricia Bradford, started the fight then. And 22 years later, the Newark NAACP is still on the front line of ensuring that we are returned back to local control. But here is the thing. It is now on us. We all have a role to play. We can no longer blame anyone, point the fingers at the state. And so this becomes a very, very important election. The Newark NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. We are an advocacy organization. Thus, we do not endorse any one candidate, but our urge and our mission is that you get out to vote and that you get your neighbors out to vote. Because we have to show that we are indeed ready to be in control. And that means that we're going to vote as if we're ready to be in control. It can't be 1% of us voting, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. That cannot be. If we're serious. And the NAACP is spearheaded by volunteers. None of us get paid, but our passion and our commitment to our community is what drives us. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you and to say to you that we have done all that we can possibly do to ensure that our forum is fair, equitable, and that each candidate has an opportunity to voice their opinion and to voice their vision, their goal, and their plan for what they would like to see happen in Newark. I would also like to acknowledge any of the past presidents of the Newark branch NAACP. Joyce Simmons is here, and any current, because it's about legacy, and any current or past board members. Are there any current or past board members? We have Josephina Garcia, we have Al Tariq Kenny, any others? Florisha Johnson, any others? And those two are current and one past. I see Dr. Ernest Garrett, past board member, looking for a seat. And so we ask you, let me just say this, a disclaimer. This is being live streamed, so you need to be aware of that. And because we feel that it's important that this audience here hears what is. There's a lot going on. Okay, so the other one is an update on the consent decree that has been in place around public safety. So over there you have public safety, and over here you have education. And if you want to be entertained, of course, with Street Arts High, they're having their school play Arabian Nights. So this is what our work is about, and we welcome it. So I would like to say again, welcome, and thank you for coming out and doing your part as an actively engaged citizen. Thank you.
Could everybody please again give a round of applause to our president, Gregory? She said it really quickly, but it's important to know that the NAACP is made up of volunteers, so we don't get paid to do this. And Mrs. Gregory works tirelessly to make sure that we are all in position to do the great work in the city.
Wait a minute.
So my name is Linda Lloyd. Good evening, everyone. I have the job of, yes. We also want to acknowledge the elected officials in the room. So we have Councilman Okay, thank you for raising your hand. Councilman Eddie Osborne, are there any other elected officials in the room? Okay, awesome. So my name is Linda Lloyd. I'm the co-chair of the Political Action Committee of the Newark NAACP. Our other co-chair is Deborah Chandler, who could not stay here with us this evening, but she did come early and help us set up. I want to introduce our moderators for this evening, but before I get into that, I want to remind everyone to please sign in. Make sure you sign in and put your telephone number and your email address. This is how we keep in contact with the community. So we have one of our vice presidents walking around holding up a clipboard. Will you please sign in so we make sure that we stay in contact with you. Another thing that the Political Action Committee is working on, we are revamping our mission statement and the focus of our work in the NAACP. So there are surveys that we would like everyone to fill out. If you have not had the opportunity to do it online, it's really brief. And it's super important because we want our work to be informed by you. This is the Newark NAACP, so we want to make sure that we're representing issues that are important to you, not just the membership. So please make sure you fill out a survey before you leave. And I would also be remiss if I did not acknowledge one of our members. We have Lisa Maddox in the back, making sure you sign up as one committee member. And we also have William Simpson, not Smith, another hardworking committee member. So we're gonna get right to it. We have two great moderators. It's important for us to make sure that we represent both generations. We wanna make sure that we have young people at the table and that we have elders that we can follow and sit at their feet. So I'm going to start with our elder. We have Professor Linda Carter from Essex County College, but she's not, thank you. She's not just a professor at Essex County College. She actually is the director of the Paralegal Studies and Criminal Justice program in addition to American government. She likes to be known as the community professor, right? Not just any professor. And she is a lawyer, right? You always need a lawyer at the table to make sure that we're not breaking the rules. In addition to being a resident of Newark, I think the thing that she's probably a lawyer, believe it or not, to being a graduate of Central. Cyrus is a junior at American History High School here in Newark. He is also an active member of the NAACP Act. So what do you compete in?
I compete in original essay and oratory.
All right, so we're going to have him practice those skills tonight. And he is also an organizer. So he is working with the Newark Student Union, making sure that students' rights are important for them to be represented tonight. Impacts them, right? Okay, so I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to let the moderators take over. Thank you again. Please don't forget to sign in and complete a survey. They're going to have to share the mic.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. It's so great to see you all. Just a couple of things. I want to give the rules before we start. First of all, in terms of the introductions, everyone will have a 1 minute, you have 2 minutes for the introduction each. You'll have 1 minute for the first question, 1 minute for the second question, 1 minute for the third question, the fourth and the fifth. In terms of the questions, these are not the questions from the audience. And I should say, for the young people who
I'm a junior at American History High School, where one of the things we actually learn in the school is about social justice. So every day we're asked about issues that are in the community, and one thing that I like to engage in is education, because I understand that I went through an educational system that wasn't so great, so I feel an obligation as a student to make sure that this educational system gets better for future students that come here. So.
Just one more thing before we get started. Before the candidates sat down, they actually picked from a hat to determine which questions they're going to answer, because everyone won't be able to, in order for us to make sure we say timely, but you still get a fill and be able to determine who you want to vote for. So some individuals will be answering personnel, finance, general questions, policy questions, for the most part. So there'll be A, B. In terms of the audience, not everyone is going to answer your question. There are people who will be answering A questions and people will be answering the B questions. And the candidates are aware of that. They're also aware of which category of questions that you'll be answering, correct? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so I think the only other thing I would say is basically my theme is that whoever controls your children's minds controls your culture, your economy, and ultimately your community. So having said that, let's start with the questions. This is for policy. Okay. The first person is Barbara. Okay.
Whoever has the word, whoever drew the word.
She did. She did. See, I'll just go with him. Okay, the first question for Barbara. What is the most important policy you feel needs to be adopted or revised by the Newark Board of Education?
Yes, well, policy. Where do we start with policy? Our social contract is a policy. How can we have a better social contract so that instead of having violence, we can have utopia? How can we do that when all of our students just about are bullied from the family, from the mothers and fathers? They think they're disciplining them and they think they are really doing the right thing, but maybe there's a better way to do it instead of negatively. We need a better social contract because the social contract is a bully contract. We need to have everybody love themselves and have self-validity, starting with
Barbara.
teachers who can also give skills to our children and our teenagers.
Thank you very much. Okay. The next person who has a question is Johnny. The same. Oh, okay. Here you are. All right. I apologize. We should have done introductions, and so I kind of jumped over, so I'll take responsibility. So we'll start with Mr. House. You want to give an introduction?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert House.
You're going to have to share the mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert
Yeah, they're
House.
supposed to do their candidate statement
From
first.
Newark, born and raised in Newark, the student of Owl Street School, East High School. We're going to start with St. Stephen's College in New York City and graduate degree from Trevor Dickinson in public administration.
If he's good, he good.
Yes, my name is Barbara Tadish. I'm born in Glen Ridge, lived most of my life in Belleville, New Jersey. And I've got a master's degree from Rutgers and an undergraduate degree from Rutgers. I've taught in colleges and universities. I've spent a year in China teaching at the China Pharmaceutical University in Nanjing, China. I really want to help the students of Newark, all the children, all the teenagers, because I myself was an abused child. My mother used to say, I wish I never had you. I wish I had a teacher or someone that would tell me how to come back, and instead of being abused by emotional words, that I had learned the skills to tell my mother back when she said, I wish I never had you, that I could have said something like, well, Ma, you didn't have me, I had you. I could have confused her, and instead of having a lack of self-esteem, I could have had more validity. Instead, I tried to self-medicate because I had low self-esteem. And what happened was, instead of having self-validity, I had to go years and years before I built myself up. So parents are so important to give their children validity.
to first thank the NAACP for hosting this forum. So my name is Asia Norton, and I'm running for the Newark Board of Education. I was born and raised here in the city of Newark, here in the South Ward. I attended Maple Avenue School from the 2nd to the 5th grade, and I was a struggling learner. Fortunately, my mother, who is in the crowd right now, who was a mother and a teacher who worked at Miller Street School, and my grandmother who worked at Alexander Street School, they knew how to navigate through the educational system. And so they knew how to find schools and programs that gave me the resources and the tools that I needed. And because of their hard work, I was able to go off to college. I went to Simmons College in Boston, Massachusetts. And when I came back home to the city of Newark, I knew I was going to give back to the city with my mother and grandmother what they gave to me. I became a mother to a now 6-year-old boy, and he's in 1st grade right now. I also became a teacher. I've been teaching here in the city of Newark for 6 years. I'm raising my son just 3 blocks away from where I am, all here in the city of Newark. I became a teacher to give back what my mother and grandmother gave me, a chance to learn. And all of our Newark children deserve to have that quality education. And so I'm running for the Newark Board of Education to give back to the city. I also have my master's from Columbia University in education and policy. And being a mother, being an educator, and having a policy background, I know that I will be able to, along with my running mates, Yamli Gomez and Dawn Hayes, moving Newark schools forward. So my number is 11, her number is 6, and Dawn is 1. So 11, 6, 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Johnny Lattner, and I'm running for, first of all, again, to thank you, NAACP, for this brilliant debate. Well, let me tell you about Johnny Lattner. Johnny Lattner has been organizing for over 35 years, and also been working to make sure that the community, make sure that our students, and make sure that Newark Board of Education move forward. How have Johnny Lattner done that? Johnny Lattner has worked on a local level, also worked on a statewide level, and also worked on a national level to make sure and bring back different instruments of making sure that we can move Newark School forward. So I am currently co-founder of Pulse, Unified for Local School Education, and my closing statement, I will tell you more about Mr. Lattner. But on April 17th, elect Johnny Lattner, which is A10, Denise Cole, which is A5, and Yolanda Johnson, which is A12. Thank you.
Why didn't we start with Robert?
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Omira Molina. I'm on the Parents as Partners team, and my number is A4. I'm a lifelong Newarker, born and raised in the West Ward. I attended 13th Avenue School, Westside High School. I went on to get my degree in sociology from Essex County College. I am currently enrolled in school now. I've completed with my degree in business management in the fall of 2018 from Berkeley College. I have 16 years of commitment in moving our city forward in regards to education within the public schools.
Oh, so these are the questions we're asking.
In the secondary parent council. I have been a participant in the special education advisory board, advisory council. I have been on the 13th Avenue PTA. I have participated in the Westside High School PTA. In a leadership capacity, I have sat on Newark's Public Schools Policy Council in regards to their Head Start program since its inception from 2014 to 2017. And the Parents as Partner team is dedicated to understanding the policies that impact our district, understanding the financial process of the budget, which impacts our district, Another aspect is effective, we're advocates in effective curriculum that implements the Amistad Act. Another point that's also important to us is the fact that we want to maintain teacher retention. And I am so glad to be running. This is basically who I am. I look at myself as a civil service person. I'm definitely engaged in my community, and hopefully I will gain your vote. Again, my number is A4. My teammate is Khalil Hannah, A7, and my other teammate is Marcus Allen, who's A13. Thank you.
If you're sharing this on social networks, make sure you use hashtag NAACP Ed Forum. If you want to share this on social media, it's hashtag NAACP Ed Forum. Just a reminder.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yolanda Johnson. I am a lifelong Newark resident, born and raised, educated here in the city of Newark, started at Camden Street Elementary, went on to Camden Middle School, and ended up at Arts High School, what you see right across the street. I went on to University of Phoenix. I have 6 children that I have educated here in the city of Newark, one who is currently in University High School and the other one who is across the street at St. Benedict's. I'm running because I am a parent. I'm also the parent and CEO of organization by the name of Parents Educating Parents here in Newark, where I have helped thousands of parents advocate and navigate through the system and understand the language that's being used in the Newark Public School District. I'm also the education vice president for the C team. The reason why I'm running is because I had a chance to see local control. I was in Newark Public School System when we had local control. I know how personnel was, I know how the school district was, I know how the superintendent was, I know the education that I received, and I want to give that back to the students in the city of Newark. And not only that, running also because our children deserve better, our children deserve quality, our children deserve equity, and that has not been happening. So when you go to the polls, vote for myself, Yolanda Johnson, A12, Denise Cole, A5, and Johnny Latner, A10. Thank you.
Oh, so from Cloud A and Cloud B.
How you guys doing? My name is Khalil Hannah. I'm from the South Ward of Newark. I'm 37 years old, so I too was in Newark Public Schools before we had the state took over. But nevertheless, I'm a parent of 3 children. I went to Arts High for 1 year. I was one of the freshmen that opened this new facility on this, the adjacent building. But I was a district leader in Dayton Street, 48th District. I went to Shabazz High School. And I want to be more involved. I'm involved, I'm always involved, I'm always critical of things that's going on in the community, but I'm so engulfed in my kids right now that I need to give what I'm giving to my kids to everyone. I mean, my first grader is learning reading at a 3rd grade level. That's little things that I'm doing at home plus the school. We're reading every single day. I have a 5-year-old who's in pre-K. I have a 13-year-old who's going to high school, and I don't know if my 13-year-old is going to be going to high school in Newark right now. This is serious. It's scary right now, and I'm not going to gamble on my daughter's life with what's going on. So what I need to do is be a part of the change. I need to be a part of it. I don't want to point at everything and tell people what's wrong. I want to say this is wrong, and this is the solution, or be a part of the solution. A lot of times people have all type of gripes with the system, but they don't have nothing to prove, nothing to bring to the table, no type of solution. I want to be a part of the solution. I'm not going to tell you everything else, where I went to this and where I went to that. I'm a salesman. That's a big thing. If you don't understand what a salesman can do, you're really uninformed. I mean, I'm a salesman. I've been doing real estate for 15 years, And you need somebody to promote the schools. You need somebody to talk to the parents and engage the parents and sell the parents on how we're going to do better for them, what we're going to do for them, and we need transparency with the parents. A lot of times, there's information on the website, but who's going to the website to find it? We need someone to be able to go to the parents, talk to the big brother, talk to the little sister. Thank you very much. Khalil Hannah, vote for me, please.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I want to thank the Newark NAACP for having us here tonight. My name is Yambeli Gomez. I am running for school board. I am the proud daughter of immigrant parents. My father was a teacher, a math teacher for 32 years. He just retired last year. My mom is a labor organizer. And in our household, education and social and economic justice, were key. Because of that, I went to college. I went to Plattsburgh State University. I graduated with a bachelor's in political science, and I became a community organizer. I became a labor organizer because, I was taught from a very young age that, educating our community, making sure that everybody's included is the way to go. So I am running for school board because I was one of those kids, who didn't feel included, who, had parents that were not, too savvy about the education system, and I want to be able to help and to be inclusive. So in that term, I'm going to say a little something in Spanish. Mi nombre es Yambeli Gómez, estoy corriendo para la Junta de Educación y quiero dejarles saber que estoy aquí para pelear por los estudiantes aquí de la ciudad, para mejorar la calidad de educación y para que todo el mundo esté incluido. Así que muchas gracias. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guests, members, and friends. My name is Che John Toussaint Coulter. I'd just like to salute Mr. Sammy Gonzalez, who's a past board member who walked into the room a few moments ago. I'm a parent of a third grader here in the city of Newark. I am the son of a 1970 graduate of Southside High School. My mother is a Shabazz Bulldog, a Southside Bulldog, and cheerleader. I grew up my early years in my foundation at 12th and Madison, and then I attended Harriet Tubman School, where we were trained with very high, intense academic rigor in the 1990s. My family then moved to Glen Ridge, New Jersey, where I was exposed to a suburban curriculum education, and I'm in this race so that Newark children can have what the most wealthy Americans have, which is a robust, competitive education that prepares you for the world economy. I would like to also say that I've been a national board member of the National Society of Minorities in Hospitality. That was a diversity supplier that I got involved with while I was a student at Cheyney University of Pennsylvania. In that capacity, I served as a National Charter Membership Director, and I've worked with companies like MGM Mirage, Harrah's International, Hilton Hotels. I'm in this race, Che JT Coulter, A2. As they say, God sits high, but he blesses low. On the high side of the ballot, you'll be able to look, and you'll be able to see the name Che. That is your hope this year, and I'm the candidate to restore the Amistad Act and also bring this district to 100% ELA and math proficiency. This is not about me, it's about putting the parents completely in the driver's seat of your child's greatness, because their destiny is truly greatness, and I, Che John Toussaint Coulter, is the candidate to restore educational liberation in Newark, New Jersey.
Good evening, everyone. So good evening, everyone. My name is Marcus Allen. Simply put, I am a child of Newark. I had the pleasure of going to South 17th Street School. I had the pleasure of going to 15th Avenue School, attending Westside High School. And I stand before you all this evening with the intent to run for school board, simply because, or the want to run for school board simply because of the passion that's in my heart. I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds, if not thousands, of children across our city by working with organizations such as Newark Do Something, Project Redirect, Youth and Family Services, Tri-City People's Corporation. My commitment to service kind of took off in high school, where I was able to work with our PTSA at Westside High School to bring in ministers to support the school climate at the high school. This work has been challenging work. It's work that I've been doing since I was a teenager. And I want nothing more to be able to bring those experiences. See, the passion that I have is not my own. That passion is the passion from the parents that I've been able to work with, the passion that from the students that I've been able to work with. I currently serve as a community engagement specialist at Avon Avenue Elementary School, where I work with parents day in and day out to identify innovative ways for their children to obtain a high quality education. So I ask that you listen to us this evening with an open mind. We are the Parent as Partners team, A4, A7, and A13. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'm the dinosaur on this panel. I'm born and raised in Newark, educated in Newark, and educated in New Jersey. I'm a college graduate. I'm an alumni of Westside High School, and I'm running on this board as a candidate because I understand what this elected position holds. What everyone has to understand is that being on this panel, and because we're moving to local control, you must understand the transition plan. You must understand finance, fiscal management. You must understand governance and what role we play in picking the new superintendent and how we put a contract together for him to answer to us. This board also vote on your property taxes. And you have to have an understanding of governance, what the policies and promulgated laws say. This is no joke, community. You have to have dedication and experience. You must have know-how. I'm a captain, a veteran captain in the United States Army Reserve. I served in the Civil Affairs Unit, and what that means when the active Army go in and they tear down a city, I was trained to go in and rebuild it from the ground up. Putting policies, procedures together, talking about artifacts, and what you need on this board is experience to move us to full local control, because we only have acting local control. The way to get that done is for people to understand what the elected position is. It's not about all of the committees you've been on. It's not about what your family legacy is. It's about moving this community forward with understanding what governance is. I ask you to vote for Denise Cole, A5, Johnny Latner, A10, and Yolanda Johnson. That's the dedication that can move this school board forward, and that's the dedication that's been on the ground, and you can... Stop. Oh, I didn't see a sign that says stop. Thank you.
Okay, just to get back on track, the first question had to do with policy. Barbara has already answered the question, and the second person who can answer the question is Johnny. Mr. Latner, you're the second person on policy. The question is, what is the most important policy you feel needs to be adopted or revised by the Newark Public School Board?
I think the most important policy is the attendance policy. Because I think that if the kids are not in school, and if we don't revamp on how to make sure they come to school, then there's really no school, right? Because I think that's our number one
Candidate Gomez.
strive to make sure that that's our number one goal, to make sure they get the best. And if they're inside of the school, and make sure that we can move the school, I think that's the most important policy to me.
The next candidate to answer that question is candidate Gomez. The question is, what is the most important policy you feel needs to be adopted or revised by the board?
So I think a policy that should be maybe adopted is, having culturally responsive education, looking into instruction and program and in the curriculum, and making sure that, our kids know our curriculum is reflective of the diverse student body that goes to our schools. So I think that's a policy that should be adopted. I forgot to mention my team earlier. I'm running with Don Hayes and Asia Norton, and we are moving Newark schools forward. Thank you.
adopted or revised by the board?
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Che Coulter, A2, the most important policy and right in theme with the NAACP is the affirmative action policy. I have called on the present board chairman time and time again to amend that policy and update it so it's implemented. The affirmative action officer within Newark Public Schools has an affirmative action team assembled by community members. Currently today, I have empowered that policy and unearthed it from the rubbish pile and given it to the Science Park parents for them to be able to amend their discriminatory trend that they currently have of only 13% black boys in their school. Black boys and girls under-enrolled at some magnet schools, it is discriminatorily ridiculous. And that policy is on the books, our district adopted it, and I'm elected with the next two members. That will be something I do in the first 100 days. Affirmative action policy.
Thank you. The next person to answer the policy question is Marcus Allen.
So I think that there's a lot of policy for us to take a look at, but I think that our current transportation policy prevents a lot of our scholars from getting around. I've had the opportunity to organize
personal, so we're going to finance next, right?
Elementary schools around the same issue. I mean, to have kids that live 1.5 miles away from their school but not be able to get to school. The criteria for transportation, we need to begin to empower our parents so that they can begin to lobby our state legislature to change their policy to suit our policy and better represent our families.
Thank you all. We move to the second question. The second question is regarding finance. With the struggling and staggering financial deficit totaling millions of dollars, how would you prioritize closing the gap? The first question goes to Mr. Robert House. Candidate Mr. House.
Good evening, Robert House, line 8. With the issue of finance in the public school system, I think we need to address this. We need to address and a sustainable and address the sustainable and working finance issues. We need to recruit people who are going to stay within the system and not people who are going to gain and benefit from the system and then leave the system. And engage the parents in getting involved on the finance issues. A lot of parents are not aware of the many dissecting facts of how the finances work. We have weighted issues when it comes to children. You have per pupil finances. Then you have students with who have issues in learning. Those are special needs students. Again, there are more finance put on them as other students. So we're trying to get everybody to get on board with the finance issue. Parents, teachers, and recruitment.
Thank you. The next person to answer the question pertaining to finance is Barbara Todish, candidate Todish. The question is, with a staggering financial deficit totaling millions of dollars, how would you prioritize closing the gap? 1 minute.
The problem is that we're basing everything on statistics, big data. Who knows who has really got money that is made from under the table, drug dealers. We need investigation to find out who's got the money in Newark, because there's a lot of people that are working under the table, not paying their taxes. No wonder we have deficits. When people are, instead of paying taxes, they are pretending that they're work poor or money poor, and they buy lots of stock. As long as they have to do it with cash under $10,000, it goes untraced. What we need is an investigation into Newark as a start, and in the world as a whole, so that we can find out who really has money and whose money has them. Because what we have is a lot of corruption.
The next person who has a question on finance is Johnny Latin, candidate Latin.
So I think we need to look at two things. And on a national level, we're looking at the progressive revenue, because we just got back to local control. So after 22 years, we need to go back and look at that budget, and then we have that budget. Also, at the special needs department and also bringing the kids back into the district and upgrading the special needs department would also bring back more within the district. So those are two ways that I think that we can recoup some finances to bring back the district and move this district forward. Thank you.
Next person to answer the question is Ms. Delane, I'm sorry.
Hello, good evening. I think one of the first things we need to do is do a financial audit over the district to figure out where we are. Another thing that we need to do is a sense of advocacy because we've been black funded for over 5 years. And another thing we need to do is we need to ensure that the people that are in the grants department understand their role and understand the type of grants that are out there and actually apply. We need to understand that we have a very top-heavy budget. Another aspect is we need to ensure that principals understand their budget so that they can allocate funding accordingly to the per pupil rate in their class, in their schools. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think to prioritize closing the gap, we need to finally be fully funded. We haven't been fully funded, and I think it's something that we need to advocate for. And, you know, again, just advocate to the state that we need to be funded fully.
Thank you. And the last person in the question, candidate Cole. The question, with a staggering financial deficit totaling millions of dollars, how would you prioritize closing the gap?
First of all, you have had to attend the board meetings. We have a gap. We've been flat funded for over 22 years since the state have taken over. I listened to the governor, and he planned on fully funding us, he said, because they have a service. Plus the fact that
I'll cross the names on.
You'll cross the names on? Can you take the sheet with their first name so I know their...
Okay, which one?
Oh, this one, right here.
First, you have to understand your general budget and how your general budget is funded, and then how those funds are allocated to the different districts. And then when
Personnel,
you talk about
Hold on.
funding the budget, you have to talk about contracts. You have to know that we have contracts in this city that if it's under $100,000, they don't audit it. If in here, we also need, when you talk about funding and you talking about the budget and you talking about physical management, you have to...
Thank you. We're about to hand this over. We are going to hand this over to the student, our able student, Mr. Cyrus Morrell. We give him a hand. He will be handling... He will be handling the questions having to do with general questions and personnel. Yep, you can have. No, this is yours. Okay.
So, the first question, which is based on personnel, goes to candidate House. So, candidate House, the question is, what qualities should the district look for when serving the next superintendent of the district?
I think the next superintendent should be someone who can join us in that situation with finances and being able to direct these funds and where they need to go and strategically maneuver this pool of money that will be coming back into Newark. Right now, I'm advocating for not only this person who's coming into the school system have a finance or some type of actuary background, but also we should teach our kids finance. Teach our kids that the Nikes that they're purchasing, they can also invest in. Teach our kids that Facebook is something you can invest in. Let's start off slow, start from there, and then to increase their reading comprehension. Find personnel, and again, as I said before, recruit personnel that are going to stay with the system and interested in the kids. They're your children, they're my children. I have kids in the system. And again, I've come from a background of people who were in this system. My godmother, Elsie Eatman, was a very strong advocate of learning what is going on in your school, be a part of it. And we have to bring the superintendent into all.
Okay. Okay, so question goes out to candidate Norton. The question is, what qualities should the district look for when selecting the next superintendent of the NPS district?
Thank you. One, I admire your dedication and I appreciate you being here, being civically engaged. So as a school board member, I'll be looking for, as an educator, we need someone that has a classroom experience, someone that has experience with schools.
Johnson?
Too many do we have leadership that have no idea what the things that it takes to run a school. We also need someone that understands more. We've had superintendents that can our children, our parents, our community. And so we need a superintendent that understands the dynamics of the city of Newark. We also need someone that has experience. We don't need someone new, fresh off the block. No. We need someone that has experience being a superintendent, that has results, that can work with parents, that can work with community members, that can work with teams, that can work with everyone to ensure that all of our children here in the city of Newark have a quality education. So again, Asia Norton, A1.
That way we don't get confused.
So the next question goes out to Candidate Johnson. Candidate Johnson, the question is, what qualities should the district look for when selecting the next superintendent of the NPS district?
Although there's a long list of qualities for a superintendent, I will just mainly talk about transparency. We need a superintendent who is transparent, not just to the
Mr.
administration
Hannah,
at the
Candidate Hannah.
We need a superintendent who can leave behind the four walls and go and support the staff and administration that's inside the schools, but most importantly, the superintendent that we should look for should be one that is transparent with the community and the parents, one who supports the parents, one who listens to the parents, one who understands the students and the community that they're serving, one who works in conjunction with the board. If I am elected, you would want to look for a superintendent who works consistently and efficiently and effectively with the other board members if I'm elected.
And it's with Candidate Hannah.
So the next question goes out to Candidate Hannah. Candidate Hannah, the question is, what qualities should the district look for when selecting the next superintendent of the NPS district?
There's 1,000 things that we be looking for. But if I have to narrow it
The
down,
next one is Coulter. That's the one.
the candidate needs to be a manager of people, manager of money. They need to be able to look at the budget, snatch things off, put things on, and what that means is they need to be experienced at managing the budget. They need to be experienced at being a principal. Like the young lady said before, we also want somebody that was in the classroom at one time, so they can understand all aspects. But the main thing is, you need to be successful at it as well. If you have a whole bunch of candidates, I guarantee you they're going to have a whole bunch of credentials. They're going to have, they've been this, they've been that, they've been here and there. But if they were successful at it, what are the numbers at their school that they were at before? What did they do? How did they manage a budget? How big was the budget? You know, there's a lot of people, like I said, they're going to come out the woodwork with all type of master's degrees, all type of different plans, and everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So the main thing is, were you successful at what you did?
Okay.
Thank you.
And it's the house.
Okay, so the final question dealing with personnel goes out to Candidate Coulter. Candidate Coulter, the question is, what qualities should the district look for when selecting the next superintendent of the NPS district?
He took time from his speech.
Biggest city in New Jersey, our next superintendent has to have actual experience in facilities management because our facilities in our traditional public schools are community asset. And I know there's some differences we have, but that's something we can bring up. The next superintendent has to be with that. We also have to have the ability to free up money for other budget distributions such as like both green schools caucus, where we reduce our annual energy expenditure from $6 million. We begin to move 30% so that we can distribute raises.
What is the next general? What's the next question? General. Okay, the first general is Amara.
Is Norton?
No, the first, yeah, it's Asia Norton. Yes.
Okay, so that is the end of our personnel question. To for general, so and then the question is the dissent between traditional public schools and charter have intensified. On charter.
Thank you. So again, my number is A11, Dawn Hayes is 1, and Yamleen Gomez is 86-1161.
Schools
So I
and
believe
charter,
that all
public
parents
schools
need
and
to
charter
have an
schools,
option
yeah.
for their children to have an education. Newark is in a great position because we have a diverse school population. My mother, she had 3 beautiful girls, including me, and my older sister went to university. I went to a private school, and my little sister went to a charter school. My mother was able to pick a school because she knew the education that was going to suit us best. She knew that we were not able to go to the same school because we have different needs. All children have different needs, and Newark has the different school populations that allow them to go to all these different types of schools. And so we need to make sure that our children, our parents, have an education system, an education program that allows them to go to those schools. Thank you.
So the next question goes out to candidate Molina. Candidate Molina, the question is, the dissent between traditional public schools and charter schools has intensified. Do you agree there should be a moratorium on charter school expansion? Why or why not?
So first I want to highlight that this is a Newark Public School Board. We have no decision in regards to policy of charters. And I also want to highlight that until we discuss equity amongst those sectors, that moratorium should be halted. It's about equity for all of our children, regardless of what school you choose to place your child in. It's about ensuring that we work collectively as a group and work together in implementing a plan that services all the children in Newark. But my particular emphasis is going to be the Newark Public Schools. Again, my number is A4, my teammate number is A7, Philo Hannah, and my other teammate is Marcus Allen, his number is A13. Thank you.
So candidate Hannah.
Yep, Hannah's next.
The next question goes out to candidate Hannah. Candidate Hannah, the question is, dissent between traditional public schools and charter schools has intensified. Do you agree that there should be a moratorium on charter school expansion? Why or why not?
Yes. We already have charters here, they're already here. The milk is still, we shouldn't follow split milk. But to bring more in while we're still trying to work out a budget, work out
Alan's the last one on the question.
Okay. And then we'll open it up to the audience. Alan, and then it's Ms. Cole.
Oh, the general, right.
Okay, so the next question goes out to candidate Allen. Candidate Allen, the question is, the dissent between traditional public schools and charter schools has intensified. Do you agree that there should be a moratorium on charter school expansion? Why or why not?
Denise Cole was the last one. She's the last one. Okay.
All ideas and notions of creating equity across every sector of education in this city.
Okay.
We have to take a look at what we need to do for the MDS. We must look at what we have and we must look at what we need to do to make our schools better. So when we get to our curriculum, to provide our scholars and their families with the tools and resources necessary to have a high quality education.
Hey. So the final question goes out to candidate Cole. Candidate Cole, the question is, between traditional public schools and charter schools has intensified. Do you agree that there should be a moratorium on charter school expansion? Why not?
Emphatically, yes. And the reason why is because the moratorium only states that you have a certain period so we can evaluate what the impact of charters have had on the traditional and how we can change and build a collaboration with the charter schools so that we can find out what worked, what didn't work, and so that we can rebuild our base and our budget, because charters are legislatively put together. They're not under the Constitution. So therefore, charters and budgets are different than ours. If we look at the charter action and finance, they shouldn't even get the purple rate that Newark Public School get. They should get way less because they have more money than the public school. So yes,
Everybody will do
they
this.
should be emphatic.
Everybody's gonna do this.
Okay.
I'll do it, and then we'll come back. Okay, I'm returning. Just to make an announcement again, if you are sharing on social media, it's hashtag NAACP-ED Forum, NAACP-ED Forum. We're now proceeding to the last question before we take audience questions. And every candidate will have a chance to answer 1 minute. Stop, 1 minute. Question is, how will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark? I'll repeat that. How will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark? We're going to start at the end. We're coming all the way over to Ms. Cole, then Mr. Allen, Mr. Coulter, and so on. How will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark?
The first thing we would do, what I would do, is get the board to redo the transition plan and shut down.
That's right.
Segregation and discrimination throughout the district. The charters do not serve the same population.
These are your questions, if you're okay with them.
Yet they drain the budget. Because we have
These
not
have been
had
answered.
opportunity to have a thorough look at the impact of charter schools and traditional public schools.
Mr. Allen?
So one of the first things we do I think we need to look at the plan. We also have to use our parent power and have an understanding of the greater impact that it had on them. You don't want to just shut down the plan without having another one in place that better suits our students. We see better than that we shut down the plan without a plan. Do we need to come up with a community-based plan that fixes it or does better by our students?
Thank you. Mr. Coulter? Sure. The question is, how will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark?
Ms. Carter, one of the things we begin to do at Science Park High School is to empower those parents, district leader, myself, and also another distinguished individual who I see in the crowd. We empower those parents with file code 2224. So even before being a board member, we've already begun to empower parents to use the affirmative action resolution, which hasn't been used by the current board president or the current board, to evaluate discriminatory trends around it. One of those areas are enrollment, but that piece of policy allows for independent to amend those bad, rusty enrollment practices. Where we see black boys. So when you look at goals, as they say, God sits high, and works at less low. You can go high.
I'll do about 3 questions first. I couldn't read it. Next. Same question. How will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark? Ms. Gomez.
So I'm currently an AAT councilman at Youngsville, and unfortunately we've had a lot of parents come to our office asking us to help with the enrollment process.
What are your thoughts about the state and Newark Public Schools? Okay, yeah.
In order to, address those issues is the community input. We need to
question, Mr. Hanna. How will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark?
Well, the first thing you need to do is, when you prioritize something, is you put everything in order. And the first thing you need to do when you're putting everything in order is you need to bring everybody to the table. I don't have all the answers with the policies and with everything that's going on with One North. My kids go to the school that I want them to go to, and that's fortunate for me. But I'm talking to friends and everybody from the community, and they are really upset with the whole entire enrollment plan, with the transportation from the rooter to the tutor. They're really upset with the One North plan. So what we need to do is get the parents, the students, faculty and staff, and everybody together and find out what's going on, what's everybody gripe, because everyone has a different gripe with the One North plan. I know a couple, but I don't know all of them. We need to sit down and prioritize it. I don't know.
Thank you. Ms. Cole, you're next.
So this is one of my favorite topics because I'm actually doing something about it now. Myself, Denise Cole, filed an OCR complaint, Office of Civil Rights. The first thing that we did to prioritize was gather the parents' information, and we sent it and shipped it off to Washington, D.C., the Office of Civil Rights, with the complaint, with the disparities, with the injustices that our children and our parents were experiencing at that enrollment center. Secondly, the next thing that I would do as an elected candidate is the enrollment center wouldn't close right away, but I would make sure that our students get back those schools that the Newark Public Schools sold to Newark Housing Authority so that our kids can have some place to go. Thank you.
Candidate Molina.
I got the question. So prioritizing means that we are inclusive, right? So at the end of the day, just like Mr. Hanna said, it's inclusive of everyone that's in this room, that's in the community, the business owners, and parents and students to decide what their expectation is in regards to our process. It also takes a sense of advocacy, right? So informing parents of their rights, informing parents of the policies that are impacting them now. Another aspect will be definitely transparency and communication, as well as ensuring that we are all on the same page and it's a collective. None of us can do this by ourselves. We have to work together. Again, my name is Omira Molina. My number is A4.
Candidate Ladner, you have the question?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
One thing that we've already done is we filed a OCR complaint also in 2012 and 2014 around academics, transportation, school facilities, and the services for special students with disabilities. So we have started doing two things, and that's one reason why we say experience, dedication, and commitment means that's why you need to vote Johnny Latner, A10, Yolanda Johnson, A12, and Denise Cole, because we've already started the process. Put us on the board so we can finish it. Thank you.
Candidate Norton.
So as a mother here in the city of Newark, I went through the One Newark enrollment. My son is currently 1. And so there was being able to go to one central location to apply for my son and pick a school. It was convenient. It was convenient being a full-time mother, being a full-time worker, going back to school. It was convenient. But the system is not working for all of our parents. It's not working for all of our grandparents. It's not working for all of our caregivers. And so we need to be responsive to the community, just how my running mate Yambly Gomez, A6, said. We need to talk to our constituents. We need to talk to our community members. And as board members, we are going to do that. Thank you.
Candidate, you need the question? Okay. Candidate Todish, question 5 again. How will you prioritize addressing the damage done to the district's enrollment process through One Newark?
I believe that there's been so much privacy and secrecy, people don't even want to give their addresses. There is so much corruption in Newark that what happens is people use nepotism and they use cronyism and they get their children in the best schools, magnet schools. What needs to be done is an investigation into who actually lives in Newark, and and what we need is a lot of the employees, all the board employees, to actually live in Newark. Administrators, teachers, even the janitors live in Newark, and force them to have their children be in Newark schools. And that's the only way we will get Newark looking better again, because they'll have their own students, their own children in the schools. Thank you.
Candidate House, speak up a little bit. Okay. Just move over a little bit so we can hear you. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Priority. I think there's needs.
You need to speak up a little bit.
Needs, necessity, and communication and finance. If you put them in that chronological order, this business of public schools is a business. Let's look at it from a business format and use a business formula. If we put it that way, we can reach out to the community and the people in the community, the teachers, the parents. Kids have been crisscrossed from this town to that town, and then some are being left off the list of even schools. Parents are still trying to get their kids into a school. So again, needs, necessity, communication, and finance.
Thank you. Okay, we now move to the audience questions. Before I go on, everyone will have 1 minute. We're going to stop the questions at 8:15. We have a series of questions. I'm going to do some questions, and my co-facilitator will be doing some questions. And people are A, B, A, B, A, B. All right? So having said that, the first question that I have is, and this question will be for Mr. Who's my AB people? Let me just see real quick. Mr. House, Candidate House. The question is, some of you have come to board meetings, but not consistently. Can you speak to whether or not, I think the best way to put this, whether or not you've come to boards consistently over time? Why or why not?
I can be honest with you, I have not been consistent with coming to board meetings. I have attended some of the board meetings. One of the primary issues for me, I'm not an employee in Newark. I work in Trenton, New Jersey. But I have made my effort to make those meetings. My last couple of meetings, I went to the East Side High School meeting, which is my old alma mater, where they transferred the school went back. Christopher was ending his reign. I have made an issue to make every meeting because, again, I have kids who are involved in it. So therefore, I have to be there for them. I not only attend most meetings that I can, but anything that gets me in the public eye. Again, with my time, if being elected to this position, I will have to take the time to take off some time, but I've already allocated for that because this is something that I'm serious about.
Thank you. Candidate Norton, same question.
So I have attended board meetings for the past 2 years. As a mother and as an educator, it's important to be in the know of what's going on. Some people know my son just because he comes with me to the board meetings. But not only have I gone to board meetings, but I've also gone to meetings that are outside the schools. So attending the Abbott Leadership Institute, who definitely educates our citizens, our students, and our parents, attending those meetings.
And what they mean, schools independent of charter school.
Let's say public schools. Public schools stay with public.
Alliance. And so that organization does a lot of work with
Yeah, right. He's not including charter
and
schools.
so I also attend those meetings. I also attend meetings that are held at the Newark Trust, who informs the community on the things that are happening in the schools. And so my name is Asia Norton, A11, Yampi Gomez, A6, John Hayes, A1.
This question is for Ms. Todish. What is your platform to address our autistic children's needs in Newark and the other children with special needs? What is your platform to address our autistic children's needs in the Newark public schools and the children and other children with special needs?
I believe there needs to be more research done, because I think perhaps autistic children, there's a possibility that they withdraw from society by choice. I know that's very controversial. However, we need to investigate all possibilities. Perhaps children at a very young age feel so sensitive that they feel bullying that is the normal, quotes, political correctness, civility, which is really not civil and not social. Perhaps they choose to withdraw. Similarly, there is a whole new field called epigenetics that says we are not subject to our genetics, that we can change the course of our genetics by attitude, by positive psychology. We need to stress the possibility of innovations.
Thank you. Mr. Latner, what is your platform to address the autistic children's needs in Newark and children with special needs?
My platform is we need to go back and look at and to upgrade the current policy in reference to disabilities and other different things when it comes down to special needs students. We also need to look at bringing them, as I said before, bringing them back into the district so we can work to upgrade the current situation in reference to the special needs, and then also upgrade and making sure that they're in the district so that it won't be a hindrance to them traveling all over the state trying to get the services that they need. That would be my platform to do that.
Okay. The next audience question to Ms. Molina is, what is your vision for preschool?
So preschool is a baby. I love preschool. If it wasn't for my son's preschool program, which was a Head Start program, I wouldn't be where I am right now. They developed me. They took me in as a parent. They gave me a job. No, I earned the job. And I was able to be developed. So they took me in, they developed me, they made me understand the importance of continuing my education. So preschool saves the trajectory of education. If we modeled a lot of the preschool models that our facilities does now in regards to Head Start, the Leaguers, in regards to Newark Preschool Council, our district would be at a better trajectory in regards to that. They have an emphasis on social and emotional learning. The parents are viewed as partners from the very beginning. They're implementing in the policy. They're a part of the hiring process in regards to the managers that are hired within the facilities, the director that's running the program. Preschool is imperative to our children for their success, and it's imperative for our parents to sustain its stability.
Okay. Same question, Mr. Hanna. What is your vision for preschool?
Now, this is my baby. This is what I'm really involved in. This is what I'm really passionate about. Preschool, kindergarten, first grade, all the way up. Did you know that all kids in the socioeconomic environment right over here right now are 8 to 9 months behind their counterparts in the white and more affluent neighborhoods? 8 to 9 months. So by the time they're in 3rd or 4th grade, they're behind the kids even more. So by the time they get to 8th grade, and they got to compete and skip 8th grade, by the time they get to high school and they go and try to get a job, they have to compete with the kids who've been way ahead of them and had a ladder and boosted them up. Our kids need reading. Our kids don't need to be watching Blue's Clues and being watched all day. They need to be learning. They need to be learning if you go to some of these daycares, what are they doing? The ladies sitting down, the kids are watching cartoons. The kids need to be learning. So my kid went to early childhood. Sorry.
That's okay. All right. No. That's fine. Moving right along to the next question from the audience, and this goes to candidate Gomez. What's your position on introducing and or expanding vocational programs throughout the public school system?
I actually went to a vocational high school in Jersey City under state control, and is A1, so thank you.
Mr. Allen, same question. What is your position on introducing and or expanding vocational programs throughout the public school system?
My position is simple, let's do it. What we need to do is we need to start looking at some of the corporations that build in our city, some of the businesses that travel to our city.
So I'm doing the last question I have. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing this one for A. So you'll do B, B. Okay. And then A. B, that's yours. Okay? Okay. No, you just do 2 people get the same question. 2 people.
Even for free.
Let me just check something on your list.
Thank you. All right, this is a question close to my heart, since I'm an American government teacher, professor. What is your position position on the reintroduction of civics education into the public school curriculum. This goes to Denise.
Well, first of all, it don't need a reintroduction because it's mandated in our policies that we have. First of all, we have to hire a superintendent that meets the qualifications for the state of New Jersey. The qualifications aren't waived like Mr. Serve. Second of all, we need a superintendent that understands the daily operations and understands program instruction. And we need to make sure that we have people in our program instructions that ensure that our arts mandate is met.
For the first question.
Okay, I'm just going to say expanding.
We have active superintendent that makes sure that the mandates within our policies and procedures are met, and we need a governing body that understands what we already have in our policies so that we can ensure that he is following that.
Thank you very much. Same question for Mr. Candidate House. What is your position on the reintroduction of civics education into the public school curriculum?
As my point, the colleague down, the candidate that said, it should be instituted back into the school system. And again, we talk about kids with special needs. I had the company of dealing with a young woman who was teaching people with autistic how to cook for themselves. So this vocational training, things that we need to find alternatives and holistic approaches to a teaching method and accept that teaching method and get people who will understand that a diverse method of teaching will enhance any child. So we can put things, we need to look at some whole things. Yeah. Each kid learns at a different level. I've also been within the idea of public schools, like a charter school. So some people homeschool. If you ask them all kids, they all need education with a path to change. That should be the path.
So I'm just asking 3 questions, like one question.
Two people for one question. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to our able Mr. Morrell, our student,
So,
for the next audience questions.
so for the audience question goes out to Candidate Tadish. Candidate is, what is your position on expanding African and global studies within the public school curriculum?
We all need to know that history is an interpretation. Unfortunately, as a professor, I've had the unfortunate circumstance of asking a professor of history if she thought that history was an interpretation. She said, no, history is fact. You know, the problem is that we are in denial. We are like ostriches putting our heads under the ground, and we think that whatever is in the latest history book is fact. We need to know our own experience is fact. Whether you are black, white, or Chinese, or female, or male, or gay, or straight, you need first to be human, and you need to know about human history. But the only way you can really know about human history is to experience your life instead of experiencing it vicariously through reading books and theory. We all need to be valid to ourselves.
Okay, so the next audience question goes out to Candidate Latner. Candidate Latner, the question is, what is your position on expanding African and global studies within the public school curriculum?
Well, my position is that definitely we need cultural awareness. And one thing in my 7-point platform, which I would discuss when I do my closing statement, is cultural awareness in the Sustainable Community School pillar. So I totally agree to making sure that there's African history and other histories in school. Thank you.
So the next question goes out to Candidate Molina. Candidate Molina, the question is, do you agree or not agree with the recent school walkouts? Why or why not?
So definitely I agree. When students are aware of what's going on within their communities and how it impacts them, It gives them a sense of ownership. It gives them a sense of pride in regards to they're able to fix their own problems. And the fact that adults were able to support them shows them the message that they matter, that their voices matter, that they're important, that how they feel has value. So in regards to the student walkout, yes, I definitely encourage that. I support that wholeheartedly in regards to that. And I want to make sure that as parents, as community members, that we support our children when they choose to do those type of events, when they choose to do those type of walkouts, those type of advocacy, those types of organizing. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to be here forever. And we need to make sure that we pass that baton on to our kids.
So the next audience question goes out to candidate Hannah. Candidate Hannah, the question is, do you agree or not agree with the recent school walkout? Why or why not?
I agree. I think it was beautiful for the kids to get involved in current politics and what's going on. I think it empowers them. I think it makes them feel like they're part of society. But on the other hand, I hope it wasn't coerced. I hope it wasn't pushed upon them. If they took it upon themselves and went out and said they were going to do a walkout, I love it. But if the teachers in the town were saying, hey, walk out so we can go out, I'm not really with that. But from what I see, it seemed like they did it themselves, and I'm all for it. I think it was beautiful.
So the next audience question goes out to candidate Gomez. Candidate Gomez, the question is, how do you plan to recruit top teachers and develop a rigorous curriculum?
So I believe that to recruit top teachers, we need our top teachers already in our schools to be able to do that work. I think that our top teachers know who's going to be effective in our schools, and that's what we need to do. So thank you.
The last audience question goes out to candidate Allen. Candidate Allen, how do you plan to recruit top teachers and develop a rigorous curriculum?
I think one of the first things we need to do is make sure that our office of human resources is doing their job. We need to start visiting HBCUs to make sure that we're bringing African American teachers back into our classroom. And the way we do that is by talking to the offering them a contract upon their graduation, upon their completion, and making sure that they come back into our district. Then we start to work on developing a plan to retain the teachers that are already here. We start strengthening the climates in our schools, strengthening the climates in our district, and we will not only retain teachers, but we will obtain some of the top African American teachers in this country.
Take over. Ready for time.
Oh, okay. So the next audience question goes out to candidate Tadish. Candidate Tadish, the question is...
Young man, it was a ratio that was a bit disproportional. I didn't get a chance to answer about 5 questions. I don't know if you missed me on the spread.
Okay.
So should I address them?
You did the first group.
I'm sorry, I'm just doing a little bit of
second.
civic self-advocacy.
All right, give him this.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, no problem. So candidate
Just to amend the
Coulter.
process. Yeah, and Ms. Cole as well. Is that because we're from the South Ward, or?
Wow. Not a problem. We'll do it now.
All right.
The next question will go to the 3 of you. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay,
This is
so...
the last question from the audience.
So to candidate Coulter, mismanagement and wastefulness spending were the issues that caused the state takeover of Newark Public Schools. What is your plan to address these issues?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Okay, so the question is, mismanagement and wasteful spending were the issues that caused the state takeover of Newark Public Schools. What is your plan to address these issues?
One of the first things I would do to address those issues is to follow what the transition plan calls for. It calls for new internal fiscal controls or financial controls for us to begin to not expend on labor. I think it's about 25% of our annual budget, and also how we do our collective bargaining agreement with our teachers, because that's where they get their additional pay. And as we're negotiating with them, we are able to negotiate things back into the curriculum like the trades. So So when we do our collective bargaining agreement, although we think it's generally just labor, it's also curriculum as well, and those things often cause costs to soar, as well as supporting our environmental committee in making the necessary upgrades to our water system, which we share with the city. So the school system's water system is shared with the city, and that has cost, for example, this year, $55 million for this fiscal year, as an example. So to reduce some of that, if we made the upgrades, technology upgrades.
Okay, so the next question goes out to Candidate Cole. Candidate Cole, the question is, mismanagement and wastefulness spending were the issues that caused the state takeover of Newark Public Schools. What is your plan to address these issues?
I've been attending the board business and retreats. My plan for addressing the problem is that we have to have a superintendent and we have to have policies so that the superintendent can understand what his role is with fiscal management and the budget. In order for us to gain any control over our district, we must understand what the fiscal management is, and we must, because our role as board members is to govern. So we have to make sure that the superintendent has the necessary policies to govern. So we have to review those policies that are outdated, update those policies, and then look at our general budget and train our principals on how they can effectively spend money so it is directly hitting the classroom.
So the final audience question goes to Candidate Johnson. Candidate Johnson, the question is, mismanagement and wasteful spending were the issues that caused the state takeover of the Newark Public Schools. What is your plan to address these issues?
Mismanagement. So our district was flat funded, specifically the SFRA was underfunded by Chris Christie. So now that we have Governor Murphy, I'm assuming that Newark Public Schools would get our fair share of the aid. So we won't have to figure out where money is going to be dispersed throughout the district. And I'm sorry, ask the question again.
So the question is, mismanagement and wasteful spending were the issues that caused the state takeover of Newark Public Schools. What is your plan to address these issues?
Okay, so we were flat funded, and the state aid that we got, I will first ensure that we get the correct amount of state aid that's awarded to us from the state, and then ensure that the superintendent has allocated the funding that we got from the state and the other two funding sources, because we have different funding sources, allocated to the different districts and schools and places where it needs to be.
I want to thank everybody for answering the questions. I think they deserve a round of hands. We're now going to move to the closing statements. And initially we said 2 minutes, but for time and to respect the audience's time, we've moved it to 1 minute. But we're going to start to my left so that everyone. So we're going to start.
If I say anything to you, to the public, what you need to do is elect people who have dedication experience. Go to www.nps.com, look at the board business and board meetings, and you will see actually who has been present all the time, who can step into the role and do the job. That's A5, A10, and A12. Johnny Latner, Denise Cole. I am dedicated, I know governance, and I can step in and move this district forward.
The passion I carry is the passion of my students, my families, my city. And I can almost guarantee you, more than guarantee you, that A4, A7, A13 are more than ready and willing to serve you as your next members of the Newark Board of Education.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Che Coulter, A2, at the top of the ballot, where God sits high, but he blesses low. I just would like to say that the 100-100 plan is what I support, 100% English, language arts, and math proficiency for all students. I am in this race so our children can have the blessing in the classroom so that they will be able to touch the intangible, see the invisible, and do the impossible. If you send 3 new board members who are going to be learning on the job, it's just as much as Ray Charles driving a car. It's something we don't need. So I would encourage you to consider my platform and that I will help this district maintain better financial control. I'll get teachers raises, and I'll make sure that kindergarten through 8th grade is reading on grade level and doing math on grade level by the time they matriculate into magnet and comprehensive high schools. As a son of a Shabazz Bull, as a Southside Bulldog, being my mother, that's why I'm here, and I love you all.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I just want to say that I'm part of a very dynamic team that's energized, that's ready to do the hard work. That team is moving Newark schools forward. It's Dawn Hayes, which is A1, Asia Norton, which is A11, and myself, Yambeli Gomez, A6. Thank you.
How you doing? Again, Khalil Hanna. A4, Myra Molina. A7, Khalil Hanna. And A13, Marcus Allen. Please come out and vote April 17th. The main thing that I'm passionate about in this city is our schools. $930 million, and we can't have truancy officers. We can't have after-school programs in abundance. We can't have breakfast for everybody, kids going to school hungry. It's a problem with the parents, it's a problem with the staff and the faculty and everybody. What I can do is talk to the parents. Parents can relate to me, I see them all the time, and I can relate to parents. Half of these people are not gonna be able to go out here, strap their boots up and get dirty and talk to parents. I can do that. Thank you.
Yolanda Johnson, A12, Denise Cole, A5, and Johnny Latner, A10. We will continue to advocate and educate and empower and engage the parents, the community. We will continue to hold the Newark Public School District accountable. We will continue to advocate on behalf of teacher retention and recruitment. We will continue to ensure that transparency and dedication and commitment is possible within and across the district. We will continue. You can hold us accountable now. You don't have to wait until the election. When we're elected, you can hold us accountable now. A10, A12, and A5. Cole, Johnson, and Latner. Thank you.
So, my name is Myra Molina. My number is A4. I'm on the Parents as Partner teams. Our numbers are A4, A7, and A13. We will continue to support the students and families within the Newark Public School system and throughout the city. We are civil servants, so this isn't about a political role. This isn't about some type of power or to be established as a leader, because we've already been doing the work, and in a sense, we've already established ourselves as leaders and being viewed as leaders amongst the community. It is our duty to ensure that our children are prepared, that our kids are prepared to live a life full of purpose and have a sense of self, built on integrity and compassion. We are child-centered, community-embedded, and experienced with working with our children and families.
Thank you. Experience, dedication, and commitment. That's what you'll get with A10, Johnny Latner, A5, Denise Cole, and A12, Yolanda Johnson. Putting the community first. We're not just words, we showed our action, and we want to continue to do that. Thank you.
We have local control, and we need to maintain it. For us to maintain it, we need to send a message to the state that we have leadership that represents parents, that represents teachers, that represents the community. And so myself, along with Yambeli Gomez and Dawn Haynes, we have that. And so, moving Newark schools forward, We have to come out on April 17th and vote for A11, A6, and A1. Thank you.
We are all so much more than our names. We are limitless, and we can show the children of Newark how to be limitless too by our example. For instance, I'm a baby boomer. I'm a late bloomer baby boomer. I'm so late in blooming I may already be dead. Until I met my boyfriend Ken, I was Barbara A. Todish. Now I'm Ken and Barbie. Love makes everything different. We need to stop our relationships with technology and start having human relationships. We need to stop being our race and our gender and our color and our class, and we need to be transparent, at least to ourselves. There's so much secrecy and privacy in the world today. We're secret to ourselves. Instead of enhancing and grasping all of our parts, we only see our saintly part, and we see in the other the dark sides. What we need is to be able to embrace all of our good and our bad in ourselves and help each other. Love.
Good evening, folks. Let me just say this. My name is Robert House, and this has been a very enlightening evening on all parts with all the candidates on this stage here. I'm just an individual who's stepping out of the sidelines of the shadows of speaking and not being an advocate. I've been an advocate in the past, working formally with the Newark Police Department for the unions and things of that nature. So I'm a committed person and committed to people and committed to getting answers to issues that people don't want to answer the questions to. So therefore, this is a passion for me because I have people involved. And again, people saying, you're standing on the sidelines talking, why don't you step out there? So I stepped out of those shadows, and I have something to commit to. I have something to give to you and to show you who I am. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for taking the time to come out. This is really important. The most powerful election is a school board election. It sets the tone for the country. Whoever controls the Board of Education controls jobs and curriculum. So it's very important. So on that note, I think Deborah Smith Gregory is around.
I think I'm
Where's she at?
They tasked me.
Over here.
Oh, okay. Good evening. My name is William Simpson, member of the North Branch of the NAACP. Before I kind of get into the closing, I just really want to acknowledge our brother Cyrus. And I think there are Cyruses all over our community, and these are the folks that are going to help them kind of bloom into what he's becoming. So there's just a couple of housekeeping things that I wanted to mention. One is just thank you all for coming out, right? This couldn't have been possible without your participation, and we look forward to your participation in events in the future. Also, Ms. Gregory and Ms. Lloyd commented earlier, we've got this survey. The survey is really important. For years, folks have talked about the NAACP doing this, not doing that. But now we're trying to make a concerted effort to really reach out to the community, find out what the issues are, so we can create a platform for us to work from, right? And I would also urge you to sign up for the NAACP too, right? So we can sit on the sidelines and talk about some things, but until we actually get out here and start doing some of this work, being a part of some of these meetings, joining some of the committees, man, we got to be responsible for some of this change we want to see. So I think that was it. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Lloyd, but thank you for coming out.
Okay, awesome. So thank you again for your patience. Thank you to the candidates. And we also would be remiss if we didn't thank the timekeepers, right? It's more important, right? Thank you to the timekeepers. The other thing with the NAACP is really important that we empower people through information. So you have two things. We want to thank the mayor's office of comprehensive community education. They actually put together a one-pager about the history of local control. There you will find the roles and responsibilities of the board member. We have also prepared in our program just some quick facts about Newark Public Schools, as well as the role of the board members. Please make sure you reference those when making a choice on April 17th. Really quickly, our next event that we'll be hosting with the My Vote is Power Coalition, we're gonna be hosting an at-large candidate forum, not debate, for the Newark Municipal Council. That's gonna be on April 24th at the Masonic Temple here in Newark, New Jersey. We also wanna remind you, as Will said, please join the NAACP volunteers. I drove from Oceanport, went home, nursed my brand new baby, and came here to be here tonight, so, and I'm not getting a check. So, I'm not doing that for a round of applause. I'm just emphasizing, like, we're here because we love the community and we're committed to the mission. So please, the organization is only as strong as the membership. An adult membership is only $30. Yes, I said only $30. And you'll also get a subscription to our Crisis magazine. We meet the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Second Thursday. I'm thinking about the Political Action Committee meetings, right? We actually meet the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. at 1 Court Street, which is the senior building here downtown in the city of Newark. Lastly, I also want to mention that this was not able to be live streamed because of the networking, but it will be available tomorrow on NAACP or on our Facebook page. So please follow us on social media and on Twitter. And don't believe when people say that our elders are not involved online in social media. Ms. Deborah Smith-Gregory does all of our tweeting, and I'm not even on Twitter. Ms. Gregory, is there any final words that you want to say to close us out?
I just want to say thank you, candidates, and best wishes to you. And what we would like to do to go beyond the audience is that we would ask you to kind of hang back before you go to your supporters, because we just want to do a quick 1-minute interview, your name, why you're running. Because we're nonpartisan, you can't say vote for me, because you'll get us kicked off a cable station, okay? But we want to expose our community as much as possible to the candidates. And even though a lot of folks came out between this and Facebook and the TV network is IYO TV that will be interviewing you. So please just hang back for just with 1 minute, that's all, okay? And audience, thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who were able to live stream and you were tweeting. I was seeing some of the tweets. We have to play a part in our community, okay? We have a part to play. So I want to thank all of you. We wanted to be respectful of your time, so we kind of truncated everything, but hopefully you got some information about these candidates, and you can go and share the information. There will be a second forum on April 3rd I think it's at Haynes Express Building. So we don't want to say, oh, well, don't go there because you can't get. No, go to that one as well, okay? The more information that can be gotten out, the more power can be harnessed. And we need each and every one of you to get out and vote. Now, we will be having a council at large forum. It will be on April 24th at Prince Hall Mason, because we feel that getting out the vote, getting informed, getting involved is crucial to the mission of the NAACP. So I would like to say thank you again, Godspeed, and be safe going home.